McLaren wrapped up a second straight Constructors' Championship in Singapore, but the mood inside the team was anything but calm. The night race should have been a victory lap for the whole organisation, yet the spotlight shifted to tension between their drivers. Oscar Piastri was openly annoyed with Lando Norris after a first-lap clash that helped Norris move ahead, and his anger only grew as the race went on and the team declined to act. The chain of events began as soon as the lights went out. Norris started fifth and sent his car down the inside into turn 1, where the pack was squeezing through the corner. Piastri had lined up third and came off the line well, with track position over his teammate, but in the tight opening scramble everything went wrong. Norris brushed Max Verstappen's Red Bull while trying to avoid running into it, damaging the end plate on his front wing. That awkward slide pushed Norris across and into Piastri. The bump nudged Norris forward into third place. Piastri lost momentum and dropped to fourth. Piastri's voice on the radio told its own story. He said it didn't feel very much like teamwork, and his tone made clear this was not a passing annoyance. As the race carried on and it looked like McLaren would let the incident stand, he became more direct. He asked his race engineer Tom Stallard if the team was really fine with Lando shoving him aside. Piastri's point was simple. He believed Norris had gained an advantage by making contact, something the team had said should never happen between their cars. The answer he received was cautious. The pit wall told him they were looking into it and reviewing the footage. Later came the verdict: no action during the race. McLaren's reasoning was that Norris had needed to avoid Verstappen, so any contact with Piastri was a knock-on effect. They promised to go over it after the race. That explanation did not sit well with Piastri. He said straight away that it wasn't fair, and in frustration used strong language to describe the situation, making it clear he thought avoiding Verstappen by tagging your own teammate was not acceptable. Those messages showed this wasn't just about turn 1. To Piastri it was about whether the team would protect a basic rule: the drivers can race, but they must not hit each other. McLaren has long insisted that both drivers are free to fight as long as it stays clean. The aim is to keep both cars scoring big points without risking avoidable damage. In Singapore, that guideline seemed to be tested. It left the team with a difficult call. If Norris was trying to avoid a bigger collision, does that excuse the contact with his teammate? And if it does, what message does that send about enforcing their own standards? For Piastri, this flashpoint came after a string of episodes earlier in the year that already made him uneasy about how decisions were being made. In Hungary in August, Piastri was the lead McLaren on track, but strategy freedom was given to Norris, who then turned that into a win. Strategy is always complicated, and teams often split plans between cars to cover different scenarios. Still, it left Piastri wondering whether his position as the one ahead was being properly protected. Then came Monza in September. After a slow pit stop for Norris and a surprising choice to stop Piastri first, the order swapped on track. McLaren told Piastri to give second place back. He pushed back on the radio, reminding the team that they had previously agreed slow pit stops should count as bad luck, rather than something the team tries to undo later. He followed the order anyway, but you could tell he didn't like it. Add those cases to Singapore, and a pattern begins to form in Piastri's mind. When in doubt, the calls seem to go against him, even though he leads the championship. Norris, for his part, didn't see Singapore the same way at all. Speaking afterward, he described the opening as slippery and busy, but nothing out of the ordinary. He said he put the car down the inside, had a small steering correction, and called it good, hard racing. There was no sign he believed he'd crossed a line. In his eyes, it was a messy turn 1 with minimal contact, and he did what he could. These opposing views matter because the title fight is tight and getting tighter. Piastri's advantage at the top shrank to 22 points over Norris after Singapore, with Verstappen also narrowing the gap and now 63 points behind. With 6 races to go, every point is precious. The difference between third and fourth can change the shape of the championship by the time the final round comes. That's why Piastri was so unhappy. He had started ahead, avoided trouble, and still came out behind due to contact he felt should not have happened. The rest of the race didn't make things easier for him. A delay at his pit stop later on cost Piastri about 9 seconds. Before the stop, he'd been roughly 4 seconds behind Norris. Afterward, the gap was more than double. He chipped away at it and narrowed the distance in the closing laps, but by then he didn't have enough time or tyre life to mount a real attack for the podium spot. Without the first lap shuffle and the slow stop, he believed third place was on the table. Lost in the noise was McLaren's big achievement. The team locked up back-to-back Constructors titles with 6 races still to come, the same timing as Red Bull's run 2 years ago. That's a sign of consistency and speed across the season, and of a car that on average has been the benchmark. Both drivers have been fast everywhere, and the team's execution over the year has mostly been first-rate. Normally, a result like this would dominate the headlines and give everyone in orange a chance to celebrate without worry. Instead, they left Singapore fielding questions about whether they're handling their 2-star lineup fairly. When a team runs 2 drivers capable of winning races and a championship, managing them becomes as important as designing a quick car. The promise to review the incident after the race was a way of keeping the peace in the moment, but the deeper issue is bigger than a single corner. It's about trust, clarity, and making sure that the same rules apply no matter who benefits. McLaren now faces a delicate balance in the final stretch. They have to support both title contenders, not swing the pendulum toward one driver, and still avoid costly clashes. That means being crystal clear about what you can race but don't touch really means when the pressure is high and the margins are tiny. It also means judging incidents quickly and consistently, so neither driver feels the goalposts are moving. From Piastri's side, the frustration stems from the feeling that he did the right things and lost out anyway. He qualified ahead, kept it clean off the line, and ended up 4th while his teammate finished 3rd because of contact and later gained from a better race flow. From Norris's seat, the first corner is always a fight and minor taps happen. He believes he stayed within what's normal for racing at that point of the track. With 6 rounds left, the relationship between the 2 drivers will be closely watched. Moments like Singapore can linger unless they're addressed openly. If McLaren wants to avoid more flashpoints, they'll need to lay down firm, shared expectations and stick to them even when it's uncomfortable. That may mean harsher internal penalties for avoidable contact, or it may mean clearer instructions before a start about what risks are acceptable when both cars are side by side. The championship picture keeps turning the dial up. 22 points is not a huge cushion when a win can swing the totals quickly. Verstappen isn't out of it either, and he's more than capable of pouncing if McLaren's drivers take points from each other or get tangled up again. Every lost position, every slow stop, and every first lap shove could be the difference between a title and a near miss. Singapore should have been a night of champagne and smiles for McLaren. Instead, it became a case study in how hard it is to keep harmony when 2 drivers both believe they can and should win. The team's internal review will likely pull apart the footage, the throttle traces, and the steering data. But beyond the telemetry, the real challenge is human, making sure both drivers feel heard, protected by clear rules, and treated evenly in the heat of battle. If McLaren can get that right, they'll carry their constructors' momentum into a strong finish and possibly a driver's crown. If they can't, more flashpoints like Singapore could open the door for rivals. Piastri and Norris are quick enough to beat the field. Now the team must show it can guide 2 title bids at once without letting the fight boil over. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below. See you in the next video.